Omarosa Manigault Newman shared her endorsement for Kamala Harris in the upcoming presidential election. On Monday, the writer who featured with Donald Trump on the NBC show, The Apprentice, and had a brief stint working in his administration said she hoped Harris will usher in fresh energy. The reality TV personality also claimed that Trump was experiencing cognitive decline, as she previously did in her 2018 memoir Unhinged, and suggested that he is not fit for office in an interview with Variety published on Monday. "I think what's grating on his nerves the most is that this next defeat may come at the hands of a woman of color," she said. This comes just months after the former president revealed that he hired her as a White House aide solely as an experiment. He also said he fired her because everybody hated her and she was late all the time while chatting with Variety's Raman Satudee for the now released, the New York Times bestseller, Apprentice in Wonderland: How Donald Trump and Mark Burnett Took America Through the Looking Glass. Manigault Newman, who served as the director of communications for the Office of Public Liaison at the Trump White House in 2017, previously called him a racist and claimed that he was experiencing cognitive decline in her memoir. In her endorsement, she said she still feels the same and echoed that sentiment. Anyone observing Donald Trump, and even taking a moment to compare from 2016 to now, what becomes apparent with what's happening with Donald is that he has limited vocabulary, she told the outlet. "He rambles, and he tends to pull things out of nowhere," she added. The former political aide, who also worked in the office of former presidents Bill Clinton, briefly reflected on her nearly three-decade career in politics and said she hopes Harris will pave the way for the next generation of political figures. "When she wins, if she wins, I hope she'll usher in fresh energy," she said about Harris. Manigault Newman, who is currently a law student at the Southern University Law Center, also shared her thoughts on Trump's treatment of Harris in her endorsement. "He reserves his most vitriolic attacks for women of color. To lose to a woman of color would be devastating to his ego." She also said it was beyond the pale for him to call Harris' racial identity into question, as he himself has not been honest and straightforward about his lineage. While reflecting on the time she spent with the former president, she shared her strong belief that he squandered the greatest opportunity he had in his life to be a consequential leader, to shape the direction of our nation and bend it towards something positive. "He opted to go to the dark side," she said. "That's why I have no reservation in, I guess I'm saying this for the first time completely, 100% endorsing Kamala Harris for president." Manigault Newman rose to prominence as one of Trump's favorite contestants on The Apprentice after first appearing on the reality show for its debut season in 2004. She went on to appear in two different installments of the Celebrity Apprentice 1 and Celebrity Apprentice All-Stars. He went on to her as his campaign director for African American outreach in 2016. In 2017, Omarosa was appointed as an assistant to the president and director of communications for the Office of Public Liaison. By December of that year, however, former Chief of Staff John Kelly terminated her role. Afterwards, she allegedly made and released a secret recording of him firing her from the White House. A lengthy lawsuit ensued, in which the Trump presidential campaign alleged she had violated an NDA and was arbitrated in Manigault Newman's favor. She was awarded $1.3 million in legal fees in 2022. She said that she does not fear reprisal from Trump if he were to become president again. "I'm not intimidated by him," she insisted in her interview with Variety. "At the time, it was very intimidating because he was one of the most powerful individuals in the world. Now that we've taken them on and won, I don't fear that. And now that people see the pattern, we can push back against it more fiercely than before." Manigault Newman also said she is optimistic about the future of the country. "It's time for a younger generation. Politics is a young woman's game," she said. "Young women should have an opportunity to serve at the highest levels of government. I had a chance to do it twice, which I think is more than enough in anybody's lifetime," she continued. "But it's time for fresh blood, and I'm excited for the future of this country. I believe the nation will choose the leader they need at this time, and I believe that that leader is Vice President Kamala Harris."
Those bad things, and she in her way of communicating, she was kind of all over the place. You could tell somebody had kind of given her talkers and coached her, but she was just, and you can't say those things, and you sound like you have something in your back pocket. I mean,
Did Laura know that you had additional tapes?
Oh no. Otherwise, she wouldn't. I mean, let's be clear. I have Laura bad mouthing Ivanka. I have Laura bad mouthing Donald. I have Laura bad mouthing Melania. I mean, Laura probably, the reason why Laura doesn't say much about me is because if she recalls all the conversations we had, particularly when we were on the bus for the Women for Trump bus, you know, we were on that bus and we were going around, she would say some things that I think the family would be quite interested in.